Well, g'day everybody. Here we go again. Let's hope this is better than yesterday. And in fact, before I do anything, I forgot I meant to put my uh, on Facebook. So here I can tell if everything is happening or not. A bit disorganized this morning. um, Switch to mini globe race. Here we go. I don't want to put a post. Um, Here we go. We're live. Okay, so I can see that that's happening, and whoa, we've got volume even. So that's cool. Okay, that was a disaster as I was rushing out the door the other day. Um, it wasn't my fault. I was pressing the right buttons, so Belive had an issue there. Having said that, well, I'll explain a bit more in a minute. They had an issue, and we didn't even know it wasn't stopped. So it was running as a live for the next 4 hours or something on Facebook or on YouTube, one of the others. A complete disaster. And I have we put it down to Be Live's problem. Okay, and then I was too late. I had to get out of there because we had to, you know, get a car. We had a car booked, take us to the sort of terminal to go across the bridge to cross to Hong Kong and blah blah blah. Anyway, we did all that and we got across here to La Sable d'Olonne. Jane's in China. She's now got my cold, which is really good, and my cold's finally getting better. So that was good timing for her as well. Unbelievable. And then I got in late yesterday, and I actually got online late last night, and everything was fine. I'm using Starlink again. And then this morning, got up and everything just crashed. It was all working fine, and there's something happened in my computer. Went nuts, and be bored with all this stuff. But basically, I had no Wi-Fi coming off I couldn't Wi-Fi into the computer with the links, and it was just a nightmare, hour and a half down the drain. But in the end, I finally got into the back end of the computer, and I'm not on this. I just had to because Jane gave up, and all of a sudden, bingo, it reorganised itself. And it all happened because the computer crashed, said it had some internal thing and had to do its own reboot and blah, blah, did all that. When it came back, it looked okay, but had no bloody Wi-Fi ability to connect to anything. Okay, enough of that rhubarb. Here we are, and I will, having left you in suspense about the issue of what I consider to be one of the biggest scares for my safety planning ever because of the PLBs and stuff. I'll get onto that after we do the tracker and try and explain what's going on. But before I do, the next most common problem I have with people is, see, you know what that is? That's a PLB. You know what that is? You probably know what it is, but you might not know what the definition or the generic slang term might be for it. This is an AIS beacon, right? And it's like a personal PLB, PLB, but it doesn't transmit to satellites. It's just AIS. It just sends out, and you've probably seen them, people buy them. When you turn it on, it sends a signal to your AIS unit on board the boat to say someone's in trouble and you can go and get them and stuff. And it's termed in all sorts of different things, but the most common one I see is this is a PAB, Papa Alpha Bravo, okay? That's a personal AIS beacon. This is a personal locator beacon because a couple of very experienced sailors that are known for a long, long time. Sometimes they still get it wrong. They don't know. They get in terminology, and when we're just talking, they call them different things and so on. And a lot of that has come about. The conversations recently is about the fact that now you can buy a unit which is a combined PLB and PAB, right? And so when one goes off, they both go off. So if you fall in the water and you want to turn your AIS beacon on, your PAB on, the PLB comes on automatically as well. And you can set up these AIS beacons with this little attachment here that just clips on, basically. Well, you just slide that on, and this clips onto your inflation tube of your life jacket. It has a loop that goes around the bladder. So when the bladder inflates, either manually or automatically, if you've got a hydrostatic release on your life jacket, it will automatically turn on your PAB, okay, because you can arm it, and as soon as you go plop, it goes off. So if you're a crew member, you get hit on the head, you fall in the water, your life jacket goes up, and automatically, even though you're unconscious, your AIS on board tells you that someone's in trouble, and you can go back and pick them up. Right now, that's really cool. But when they're together like that, sometimes you want to be able to turn your AIS on without turning your PLB on. Because if you imagine you're a solo sailor or a short-handed sailor and you go dead ship, you've got no power, your AIS is not working on board, so you're sailing along nicely, but you've got a ship cruising down on you. You can use this to alert the ship that is about to run you over. You just turn it on, and it doesn't tell the rescue coordination centres it's that you're in trouble. And even though you're not in the water requiring assistance, if someone sees this go off on their AIS, like a ship or something, they'll think, what the bloody hell's that? And if nothing else, I get on the radio and see what's going on. And so you can use it as an alert device. And also when you, or if you, or one of your crew members falls over, a PLB is a waste of time if you don't have a PLB direction finder. So you don't need to worry about your PLB, the crew, to recover your own crew, right? You can hopefully get your crew back on board within minutes, within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes or something, and it's done. And if you have a problem with that, you can't find him, then you can always activate your own ship's EPIRB or get on the radio or your sat phone or whatever to alert that there's a drama going on and call in other ships as well and so on. So I'm not a big fan for two reasons about combining the two. I think you're better off paying the money and having two separate, depending on the areas you're sailing in, of course, And secondly, we've had a huge number of false alarms, huge number. I think we've gone to something like we're over 10 false alarms or something in the last few years in the events that we've run, all from combined AIS PLB units. And the amazing thing is, when we're talking to the rescue coordination centres and saying, we've just had a false alert, PLB alert, blah, 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 because it's these combined units and so on, invariably they nearly always come back and say, oh, we're having trouble with those ones. There's just so many false activations of the combined units, right, for various reasons. Anyway, but more on that later. That's not what I was talking about, my critical thing, my critical challenge. Couple of days, but I did have it on and I waited until it booted up. So there it is. You are now on the tracker. Why am I looking at black screen? Oh, there it is. Why? What the? You're on the tracker, so that's okay. Now I go on the tracker, so I'm on the tracker. I'm just watching my phone on the Facebook to make sure it doesn't muck up because Jane's not here. Wow, look at that. Everyone's making amazing time. And in a minute, when we get through this, please remind me to read you some of the reports that I get in from their managers, because there's some good ones there. I never did get back to Eric. Got a really interesting one from Josh. He was flat out and had to get out of the way of a ship as well and all that sort of stuff. So they're all making straight line progress. They seem to be doing pretty well. Let's put the wind on, and hopefully that doesn't take too long, but it's Starlink, so it should be good. Yes, we're looking cool. All looks a bit boring trade wind stuff again now, but it seems to be some huge... I'm just checking. Yeah, it takes a long time to roll over, eh? I don't usually watch it live on my phone, but... okay, let's put some relevant distance stuff in there. So we've just about got everyone. We've got everyone on a constant track there. But having said that, to make it easier for people on their phones to see, I'm going to start at the back and come up a little bit here. Nice breeze. So Josh, doing 5.4, 132 mile day. Wow. Might be some current there. Looking good. Urton, 5.3 knots and 132 mile day. That's impressive. So we got 132 and 132. Jasmine doing 144 mile day. Jeepers. 5.7 knots. That's cool. And keeping on the hammer with Eric there. That's very impressive. Eric is 5 knots doing 145 mile day. Jazz is 144. You're doing well, Jazz. Boom. I wouldn't expect any less. That's great. 5.4 for Christian, 147. Everyone's just rocking along in trade wins. So 4.9 for Jacob, 135. They're catching you, Jacob. Whoop. And Adam is doing 5.5, 126. Makes me feel as if there's a bit of compression going on there, because now the tail enders, through all their frustrations, they've actually gained ground on Adam and Jacob for sure. There's a good clean stretch there. Then there's a reasonable break all the way up here to the lead pack, which has opened up a little bit. So Peeler, 6.2, 143 mile day, and Kerry, 5.6 knots to 127 mile day, and Dan, 134 mile day and 5.8, and Renault, surprise, surprise, still leading, 6 knots and 140 mile day. So 140, 134, 127, and 143 for the lead group. So it looks like it's concentrates, but maybe there's just inconsistent sailing performance and wind gradients everywhere. Who knows? But there's some variation there, which is good to see, mainly because see Peeler's hanging in there, keeping up with everyone. Distances in terms of closure and so on from the leader at the bow. Bow to bow is 53, so he's lost out about 3 miles, if I remember rightly, from the last time I was there a few days ago. Kerry's about there, 79.80, that's about the same. And Peeler's made ground, I think. No, 200. No, it's about the same. Okay, so not a lot of change in relative position, but fun to watch, that lot. Let's just see again here. I'm going to shrink that down and talk about distance from the middle of the lead pack back here to the middle. Oh, well, no, I'll go to Adam. Adam is 500 miles, okay. And dare I say it, the definition of a mid-group, which used to be Jacob and Adam, has disappeared. Now there's a lead group, and there's a lead group, and then there's the followers. I'll call them the followers because there's quite a split there in terms of the total distance front to back. Oh, it's not bad, actually, 350 miles. So there's 2 groups now. There's a lead group and there's the followers. Okay, so that all looks cool. Let's have a look at the weather now for look at the weather wind for the next couple of days. Last time I looked, it was pretty solid. Have a look at the big picture. Okay, that might be too big. Come up. Okay, that's it. Rightio, let's just... Oh, I haven't got my... Guess what I left in China? I got no bloody external keyboard, so I don't have a G, so I'm having to cut and paste every time I'm trying to do text. I got to buy a new keyboard today, so I'm going to slide it forward because the arrow keys don't work either. Okay, coming up, the 3rd, 4th. It looks pretty good, pretty normal. A little bit lighter for the followers. A little bit lighter for the followers, yeah, getting lighter. So I think those big speeds are possibly going to drop off a little bit, but we'll look at what the current's doing. Oh, there's plenty of breeze coming up there. Crikeys. Okay, so that's on the 5th. So that's on the 5th. Okay. There's plenty of breeze there. That means sea state's going to start to really push it through there. Yep, there's a good 3 to 4 meters there. I'd be interested to see that on windy. I haven't looked at windy for a long time, but it gives me the impression. Anyway, that's if we look at just if we slide this down here and come down to the scale, you can see that's a very solid colour. It's in here that's pushing up 4 knots, about 4 meters rather, for possibly even more with a swell. Going to be a solid swell there. So let's see how that's looking in the scheme of things and see where it's coming through from when we look back, because that'll give us a rough idea. Okay, it's just a very strong, very big high pressure system that's driving this. All right, so it's not a low pressure. It's just the strength of this high pressure is really high, obviously, and that's, you can see it's just pouncing off here. Look what's doing down the bottom of Perth there. But that's looking like it's, it's 28, 30, gusting 35 with a big swell. There's going to be a ground swell coming up here and 4 metre plus waves. So that'll keep them honest. But fortunately, it's all coming from the right direction. So that's all pretty good. Let me show you clouds. It's mixed bag of clouds, and just see if it's going to. No, it just doesn't really show you much there. It doesn't read the isobars. So that's cool. Okay, let's just see how that develops. So there's back to now. Okay, and I'm just going to slide it through just so you can see the sea state. So that's 1 day later. Boom, starting to build. So that's on the 4th. So then if we go through here, there's 2 days. Yep, very solid. How long is it going to stick around for? Go to the 6th. It's good. Oh boy, you've got some big stuff there. There's 5 meters there. So if they were leaving Cocos, you can get that. For the 7th, yep, it's going to be there for a while. It's knocking over the whole lot there. Look at that. Wow, that's a big area. So what's the wind doing across there? Plenty of breeze. So there's no shortage. They're going to ride that in. It's now the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th probably. 9th, 10th, dying off. So there's some good weather coming if you want wind. They want wind, and they're going to get some sea with it. That's the difference now. Okay, I think that's currents. Next one, see what's happening. Currents don't extend that far forward. You've got to go there, build it up so you can see it. That might have been why Pila got a bit of a kick then. She went through that lot, and the others might have formed behind her. The rest of the fleet's just missing out through the key ones, but it's going a little bit angled the wrong way. So I'll just build that up one more before we go into the next one here. So you can see the fleet there. I should have had that one a bit darker. And I'll just bring that forward a day now. Okay, not too bad. Not changing. Okay. That's about right. So now if I come back to be live and I hit this for me, you've got me. Okay, a few people there. So it froze for a second. Yeah, no, jeepers, it frightened me then. I had me looking over my shoulder. Here it is. So there's about a 6-second delay between Facebook and my screen here on the live. But that's all right. Okay, so just to explain where we missed out on previously, I'm going to put that. This is where we were talking about the rescue coordination centres and the zones of responsibility. It's part of the SOLAS agreements around the world. So all these little boxes are responsibility that's been agreed on by the various islands and countries and nations around the way. So at the moment, they're coming to Cocos. Cocos is in the Australian sector. They've pretty much been in the Australian sector all the way, one of the bigger ones in the world. And it'll carry on from Cocos, you can see going across, and then you end up with one Mauritius, and then you've got Reunion Island, which is a little French one up here, so they'll cross over that. Then they go down through Madagascar, and then it's across into South Africa. South Africa's got another one that's a big area. So at the moment, the Australians are still in the loop, and once they all start assembling in Cocos, which is over here, we'll be notifying all the other zones all the way through to Cape Town of the safety book and the boats coming. I prefer not to do it too early because then they might forget that we're coming, but once they're in Cocos and I tell them they're on their way, they know it's within the next few months. So that's how that works. You've seen about all our other bits and pieces, so that's there. Now, just wanted to point out, this is the PLB, and this relates particularly to this model. I'm a great fan of the Rescue Me systems. They're super high-tech, super smart and clever, and They, they're good value. They're small. You can see here to operate, you've got to pull the aerial out. That's where it's on its side. And I'll show you the one I've got in my hand here. So when you operate it, you've got to hold that aerial completely out of the water. You don't want any of that aerial underwater, otherwise it loses frequency. Now you can see here, this is on my jacket, and it's in a little soft floating neoprene type pouch with a clear cover at the front, and it's held on by to the waist belt of the safety harness. So you've got this big flat wide waist belt going around you and then over your shoulder, around your neck and stuff. That's where it sits. So the idea is, and there's a little thin securing line, the idea is if you're in the water, you can actually turn it on because I like to be able to make sure people can do it single-handed. You can flip the little cover, I'll show you in a minute, turn it on and find it's in the neoprene pouch. You can pull it out of the pouch very easily, and you once you've done that, you pull it out of the pouch, you can hold that in the best position while you're floating there on your back. Okay, so that's the key to that little neoprene floating pouch thing. When you that we don't want to get on that. That might have been a problem. I put this on because I thought you could see it. You can't. But there's the waist strap. That's the main thing that you want to just identify with. This was sad. So change subject. This will show you how you can make the boat completely unsinkable if you wanted to. You got to put a lot of foam in. You got to fill all the back compartment up with foam, the front compartment with foam, and a little bit under the bunks as well. Just when we're talking safety. So that's that. So now you're coming back to me. Now, so this is the PLB, right? And when you want to operate, I won't wind it out, but you can actually pull the aerial out, right? The whole aerial just comes out like this, right? You just keep pulling it out, and so it goes, and then you can wind it back in again. And it's important. So if I'm floating back there, you basically got this way up in the air, and there's another way you can attach this to your life jacket. And sadly, I left the bloody thing in the boat in Fiji, and I don't have one here because I never use them. And basically, what it is, it's a little plastic cradle on this model, and it fits very tight over the back of it here. It's a little plastic one that's shaped like that. You drop it in there, it clips on. There's a little recess there, 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 and there. There's 4 of them, so it clamps it. So once you go click, you click it on. You got that to hold it, clasp it. And that little cradle, you stick on this, you can loop it into that waist belt, around your waist, and it has a little neoprene shock, like a little rubber band, effectively, a little rubber band that holds it in. You don't need that rubber band, but you just pull it over and it secures it. Okay, and that's it. It sits there like that on your harness, and if you ever need it, you can just pull it out and put it on. Now, I never use that little cradle, right, because I always buy the plastic neoprene pouch, the neoprene pouch rather, that holds it there. But I didn't have one on the last. We only had one for the 2 jackets that we have, the primary ones in Fiji. So I used the plastic cradle on one, right? The plastic cradle with the little rubber thing. And I got confused by the little rubber thing, thinking that, you just undo that and pull it out, right? The bottom line is that little plastic, same color as this clip that captivates that, it's impossible to get that off. You can't get this out of that. So the way I had it set up, there's no way I could get this PLB out off the belt of the jacket. Now, maybe I read the instructions wrong, and maybe it's not meant to be done like that, but that's the way I did it. And if I had been in the water with it, with that particular one on, and I needed to get this out, you could not get this out of the cradle and then have it tied on and then get the aerial out, turn it on, and sort of hold it there above the water. It'd be underwater. It was underwater. So I don't know what the caper is there, but I was shocked. And I was literally pulling it out to bring it with me because I'm leaving one life jacket behind and the other one we brought with us back again in the plane. And it was just a disaster, an absolute disaster. So I'm going to look into it a bit more and find out if I just did the wrong thing and you weren't meant to mount that plastic cradle for this on your harness, but that's the way it appeared to be when I got the system. It's a real problem. because I would have been buggered. I said, oh, that's it. The only way you could get it off was be to take your life jacket off in the water, which is impossible because it's inflated, and try and struggle to this, that, and the other. So, um, watch this space. For the life of me, I cannot work it out, but it's a rescue me. It's the plastic cradle that comes with it, which gives you the impression you can mount that on because you get two options. That's one way to mount it somewhere, and the other way is to buy the neoprene floating pouch. So you tell me, it was no one would be able to use it if you'd be underwater. You wouldn't be able to bloody turn it, extend the air and hold it out and all the rest of it. So anyway, I digress. That was a real shock to me. It's the only way to describe it. Okay, what do we got here? Let's see how we go. I got to read you the blurb, so don't let me forget. I'm going to put that right there so I don't forget. Here. G'day Val. G'day Adrian. It froze for a second. Yep, got that. So that's cool. Just reading down. Christian, g'day. G'day, Christine. Good evening for the apartments. G'day. Good to see you beating the cough. Sort of, yeah, still a bit there. No, watching you together in Darwin. G'day. So, please like and love everyone. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Christine. Okay, so I'm still here, so I'm going to get rid of that and just read you some of the WhatsApp. The interesting one this morning was from Kat, Josh's manager. This is what he said. Oh, first of all, this was from Josh a few days ago. Oh, Dan, that's it. Surprisingly not hazy, though. Everyone is having to dodge all kinds of stuff. We thought the Barrier Reef was going to be tough, but this seems worse as others are unmarked fishing buoys. There's all drilling platforms, reefs, shoals, and fishing boats, and pirates. He hadn't seen any pirates. Another one from Josh. Got buzzed by Border Force yesterday. Called me on the radio and asked some basic questions before flying off. I think a lot of the entrants are getting buzzed by Border Force. Just checking out and say g'day. On Sunday, Dolphin buddies brought me some wind this morning. He finally got moving. Woke up and the boat was actually moving, accompanied by a pod of dolphins. First I've seen since the Marquises. And this was today's from Josh. Yesterday was like running the gauntlet. So many ships going back and forth. One was going to cross right over my path, so I had to go north for a couple of miles until it went by. Then there was a lot of fishing boats and these random boys bobbing every few miles. So that's the story there. And then Eric, manager, okay, Monday for Eric, day 13. Flying along now in following breeze, 18 to 20 knots, 130 mile last 24 hours, lumpy seas. All is good on Sunbear, just needs some sleep. All the best, Eric. And then yesterday, from Sunbear, this morning, fishing boats everywhere off Samba. Had to weave my way past them. 128 miles in the last 24 hours. Seas are starting to flatten a little. All well on board. Cheers, Eric. They've had some serious traffic with boats and bits. Adam was reporting the same as well. So that's it. I think that's the main ones there. So okay. I think that's it. We'll, if all goes well, I'll be here for the next few days. Sometime I'm going to have to go across to the UK. I haven't made any plans yet, so we'll keep racking them up and see how we go. And I'll keep you updated on that. I've got to look more into the full instructions of this plastic cradle thing, which is, no one else has mounted that using that cradle on their life jackets. Okay. Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see you later. Seems to have all worked this time. That's a good thing.